my support staff. We want to congratulate there's congratulations to 13 Trenton State Community College dual enrollment students from Impact who have earned short-term certificates of post-secondary credentials. These students will be recognized at Trenton State's commencement ceremony. This is a big accomplishment for students who have worked hard to complete both their high school and college courses. We also have some big news from LAMP, where senior Kathy Hammond was the female recipient of the annual Jimmy Hitchcock Award. Kathy is a swimmer and a track athlete for LAMP and will be doing both of those things for Mississippi College in the fall while majoring in biochemistry. And we have some news. Several high schools were in the U.S. News and World Report's release of its annual Best High Schools. We had 3 high schools make the top 10 in Alabama, including LAMP that was ranked #1. BTW was ranked 5th, and Brewtech was ranked 10th in the state. LAMP was also ranked 23rd in the entire country. So we have lots and lots to be proud of in our schools. Now, I wanted to also, one of the things that did happen this week that I think we need to recognize is that HB 500 passed through the legislature. This was the bill that gives us the chance to ask for an ad valorem tax increase. It's the first chance in 26 years we've had to do this. And I want to start by saying thank you to Erica Watkins-Smith. You know, she kind of got the ball started. We've had to keep it rolling, and this part's done, but the hard part's in front of us. And that is to get this to the people with the understanding of why they need to improve Montgomery's schools with a little bit of cash behind it. If you'd like, I'd be glad to tell you a little bit about what passed. If you know, I don't have to. But just for the record, well, you can read the bill. But what I do want to do is say a couple of thank yous. And I can't thank everybody because there are too many people that spent too many hours on this. But I do want to give a little shout out to Josh Blades and Quentin Hawkins, Alan Ziegler, Representative Kirk Hatcher, Mayor Stephen Reed, Chairman Elton Dean of the County Commission, Chamber of Commerce President Anna Buckaloo, and the Chairman of the Chamber, Arthur Ducote. It was a real collaboration between us, government, business, community to get this to this point. Now we got to carry it over the finish line. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Anderson so he can give us some capital projects updates.
And we sent you a spreadsheet last week with some of the listings that we have, some of the major things going on throughout the district. I won't bore you with that going through it, but you can see there the different projects to your left, the update, kind of the status of where we are in completing those projects, and then any kind of notes that may go with it. And I sent you some pictures and drawings of the roofs and some of the things that are going on with those things, and just give you a little background on what the camera upgrade was and what the phone replacement was with that. But that's where we are at this point. And of course, tonight we have the Peter Crump roof, and I'll just kind of go right on into that. That's the low bid contract that we were bringing before you tonight to look at with those things. But I'll kind of open it up if y'all have any questions for me on any of these, anything going on in this area. I'll be happy to answer those and try to help you any way I can. No questions?
I think your pictures were very self-explanatory.
And I'll try to do that as we have these projects. I'll try to do that, when I go on site. That's what I was on site, on top of the roof. I'm not a heights person, and you got me on top of that roof, and that was not fun, but I did that, and I'll try to do that with each of these as we go along the way to give you some visuals of what's going on out there, because I know y'all can't be at each and every site that something's going on, but it at least give you a glimpse into some of the stuff that we're doing around the district and some of the bigger projects. We're working every day on items, but that is these are some of the larger ones for sure.
Do you want to, do you have any other, I mean, you've covered the items that you've got working now, right?
Correct, yes, ma'am. These are the biggest ones, the bigger ones that are going on throughout the district that kind of affect a larger portion of things, either in the scale of it, like with the phones or with the cameras where it's district-wide, or whether it's a large, like, contracted thing like the roof at Brubaker Middle or what's coming before you. There will be several more things coming. I know you see the site package there for BTW. That'll be coming hopefully at the next board meeting. That pre-bid we had last week, and we'll have the bid coming up next week, opening for that. And what that site package is, that's the dirt, moving the dirt, getting the elevations right, so that the next phase of it, where we're actually, pouring some concrete and erecting some buildings, will be in that. So that's where that's coming.
Very exciting.
So may I say, as part of our information sharing to the board, I've asked Ted to do this routinely. Normally, it would be during a work session where he would present information, kind of an ongoing picture of what we're doing with our capital projects as we move along. And so they'll change. Sometimes it'll be the beginning or middle or end perhaps, and then new things will come online all the time. And that way you can kind of keep up with all the projects that are going on within the district. And you'll be aware of those rather than, all of a sudden you see some heavy equipment and you're not sure what it's all about. I hope we can make sure that the big projects are put before you so that you as a board will know what's going on.
Unless someone has a question, we could move on to Mr. Watts.
Okay. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board, Madam Superintendent. You should have before you the financial statement for the month of March of 2020. Of course, March represents the half year of the fiscal year. This is the sixth month. And at the halfway point, of course, our revenues are at 55%. And our expenditures are at 49%. So our expenditures are a little bit under the halfway point of 50%. We are projected that those expenditures would decrease even more so because of the closing of schools. We're projecting that operational expenditures would decrease some, along with some instructional expenditures, such as substitutes. Along with several other supplies and those kinds of things that we're projecting to decrease. And if you would turn to about the 5th page that says Snapshot Analysis. And down to the left, you would see in the first box at the left, you'll see it says revenues as a percent of budget about 55%, expenditures about 49%. Of course, our taxes are pretty much equal to where we were last year. Of course, we are expecting a little bit of a dip when we receive those revenues for the month of April. So that is expected. And of course, I'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about the amended budget. But we also see that our fund balance has increased, so it says general fund balance analysis, about $2.3 million comparable to where we were the prior year. So things are looking good. And I do want to say that although we are projecting our sales tax revenues to decrease for fiscal year 2020, and a little bit of our, the sales taxes and the gasoline tax to decrease for 2020, we believe that our operational expenditures and some instructional expenditures will also decrease. And so we're still projected to have over the 1 month fund balance throughout the regular 2020 fiscal year. Madam President.
It's very, very good news. Does anyone have questions for Mr. Watts?
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay, I had to switch computers.
Do you have a question, Paul?
No,
Okay.
Okay, with
All
that,
right. So, Mr. Watts, you want to talk
about the amended budget? Sure. We present an amended budget each year, and this is mainly to recognize what is called carryover funds from federal programs. As you know, each school receives Title I dollars for instructional use. We also receive other type of federal dollars as well. When we do not expend all of those federal dollars at the end of the year, instead of losing those dollars, the federal government allows us to do what is called carryover those dollars for the current fiscal year. And so that's what this is. We're recognizing those carryover dollars from 2019 to 2020 of about $5.3 million of Title I, Title II, and some other federal dollars that we received back in 2019. We never ever want to lose any money, so we certainly want to take advantage of that always. Also, the amended budget also includes situations in which when schools, they may decide to budget X number of dollars. Let's just say a school decided to budget $5,000 in materials and supplies. Well, as that school determine what their needs are, they may determine, hey, you know, I need to put $2,000 more in professional development. So the amended budget provides them the opportunity to adjust that line item, where they may adjust that line item with materials and supplies to $3,000 and then put $2,000 in professional development. So as the year go on, schools, they're making decisions, they're looking at scores and looking at what their needs are. And so we want to provide them an opportunity to make adjustments and changes on various line items whenever they need to. And so the amended budget also captures that. We also knew that because of COVID-19 that we was looking at an adjustment in our sales tax revenues, as well as an adjustment in our operational and instructional expenditures. So this amended budget also accounted for that. In fact, we reduced sales taxes, and a lot of it was kind of guesswork, because what's so strange about this is that the April sales taxes are not due until May 20th. So it's almost like you're guessing in the wind about what that decrease would be. Of course, we're waiting to find out from the county what that decrease would be. And of course, we'll know a little bit more about that and determine whether we need to do another amended budget. But we did decrease sales tax about 25% for May, June, July, and we know that the government is opening things back up, so we reduced it about another 15% in August and September. And of course, again, this is kind of a little bit of a guessing, so to speak. We can't tell though, based on revenues that came in from the state for the month of March, sales taxes only decreased by 7%. Total sales taxes in the state of Alabama decreased by 7%. I thought it was going to be a little bit more than that, knowing that the governor issued, I think, the close down, I think around, March 19th? Around March 19th, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that was somewhat of good news. So we just said we'll do about 25% for May, June, and July, and then reduce it a little bit in August and September. And then we'll kind of see what those sales tax look like when we receive those revenues for the month of April. So Also, the amended budget includes some federal and state grants that we received after we did our original budget. There are times in which, after we've done the original budget, in which we do that in September, that the state or the federal government may send us some additional grant monies for various things. And so we have to capture those things in the amended budget too. And so that's what this amended budget does. It captures the carryover dollars and make adjustments to various line items on behalf of the schools and capture some of the grant monies and reductions in sales taxes and some of our instructional and operational expenditures. Madam President.
I know we're in a difficult time, but this is very good news for us. Does anyone have questions? Seeing nobody with a question, I would ask you to continue talking, Mr. Watts, about the consolidation of the local school bank accounts.
Madam President, what we're looking at doing, we've talked with several of our people in the finance department, and we're trying to look at the possibility of consolidating all of our local school bank accounts to one bank. And we wanted that bank to be no more than a mile from the school. And Regions Bank is pretty much the only one that kind of meets that criteria, where they have a branch within a mile or two from every single school except Pink Lala and Dunbar Raymond. And of course, Pink Lala is already banking at Regions. What this does is provide us opportunity to resolve problems a lot faster, and we'll have the opportunity to review all of our local school bank accounts from our central location. And the good thing about that is that because we'll have that oversight, we'll be able to go on the computer, go into Regions' account, look at each school's bank account, look at the activity, and kind of monitor the activity in every one of those accounts. Of course, the situation that we know that happened that was reported on a couple of our audits, if we would have had that type of leeway, then some of these things we certainly could have caught. Now, out of our 52 schools, 26 of our schools already bank with Regions. They were already banking with Regions. The other 26 schools are banking with 10 different banks throughout the city. So it's very, very hard to manage all of it and to be able to go in from the central administrative standpoint. I like to be able to look at every single bank account, monitor the activity on all of those accounts to be able to see what's going on in those accounts. If we were able to do this also, last year we paid total amount of bank fees at the local schools of about $17,000, almost $18,000. If we were to do this, our total bank fees would be less than $5,000. So there'll also be monies that we can save by doing so as well. But the major thing is that we'll be able to monitor, have access to review from our own central office all of the accounts at one time and at any given time in an effort to to kind of stop some of those situations that have happened in the past.
Madam President.
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ms. Briers.
I would like to applaud Mr. Watts for doing that, because I really didn't like it when Jason Taylor, but we were under state intervention. I saw no reason to change from Regions. We had been dealing with Regions ever since I've been in Montgomery, and all of a sudden we changed to smaller banks and all of that. So this is an excellent idea. Plus it will save us funds.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam President, this is Erica Smith. Ms. Briers, I remember when you brought that up in the board meeting, I couldn't let you I just wanted to highlight you for making that call when you saw it and how you did everything to advocate against it. Thank you so much. And Mr. Wise, this is superb news.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Watts, would it make any difference with our
Thank you, Erica.
interest rates per day? Do we get money for,
Yes,
for our deposits?
yes, we are getting money for our deposits, as it relates to interest. And right now, we're just talking about the local school, we're not talking about the district account. That's something we're gonna analyze a little bit later. But right now, we're just talking about all of the local schools. And that's it.
All right, he's finished? Madam President, are you ready to move on?
We're ready to move on to the, Dr. Moore. I think, we have, well, we have a consent agenda with one item pulled. So I will ask you to take over right now.
Okay, before we get into the consent agenda, I want to make one little announcement. We've been working with the city. Jade has been working with a contact person there about the possibility of using Crampton Bowl for our graduations. And so it seems that we will be able to use Crampton Bowl, I believe June 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So we're working with the high school principals on rehearsals and how we're gonna do their graduation and schedule their times. The city's also gonna work with us on setups, and now, of course, Chad and his guys and ladies will also work with us on setups. So right now, it seems like we can use Crampton Bowl, only one side of it, and we're working out those details, and then we'll give you more information as we go. So the high school principals are aware, they're okay with the idea, and so we're gonna continue to work with them so that we can get these rehearsals to graduation, as well as the actual graduation ceremony set up for each of our high schools. So that's the good news, and again, we're very thankful to the city for their partnership with us, because they partnered with us on several different things, and so this is the latest one that we've dealt with them on. All right, so moving right
Madam
along,
President,
ma'am.
will we have a rainy day schedule that's going to be outside?
Yes, we are talking with them also about some alternative dates in case of rain. So we'll make sure we share all of that with you once we nail it all down. We just kind of got the word today that we would be able to do it. So now we're working out the logistics of all of that. Okay, so moving along to the consent agenda, we're gonna pull D, which is the personnel report, the certified personnel report, which Dr. Keith has asked us to pull and vote on separately. So otherwise, I am recommending approval of the consent agenda other than item D, which we're gonna pull and vote on separately.
Madam President, move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation. I second.
Any discussion? Okay, I will call by name for, your vote. Dr. Keith, District 1,
That be a yes?
Dr. Coleman, District 3,
Yes.
Ms. Briers, District 4,
Yes.
Ms. Bailey, District 5,
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, District 6. We still having technical difficulties?
She's muted.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Smith, District 7,
Yes.
and District 2, Clownfield, yes. Okay. All right, Dr. Moore on the personnel.
Okay, so now I'm going to recommend approval of the personnel report, certified personnel.
Do I have a motion?
I motion to vote on that separately.
We have, is there a motion to approve?
Madam President,
Yes, yes, ma'am. Brenda, did you just make a motion?
okay, I can make it. We need to move it to get it on the floor for the discussion, so I think, to accept the superintendent's recommendation of certified personnel report. I second.
Okay, now discussion. Do we have discussion on it?
Okay, seems that, someone Dr. Keith had pulled it, but I will, since she has pulled it, go ahead and say that we had a lot of discussion about some of our decisions that the superintendent and her office have made. We definitely want to acknowledge the public's interest and concerns. I am very impressed with the letters that I've read regarding a particular candidate, but we still have to remember what our roles are, and being that, our role is to either accept or reject the recommendations of the superintendent's office. And if we have any concerns or if we hear anything from the community, we share that information with the superintendent. Again, I applaud the public for their input. The superintendent has received your information. But again, our role is to either reject or accept. And again, I move to accept. I second.
Okay, any other discussion on this? If not, I will call for the vote. This is for the personnel report, certified personnel. Dr. Keith, District 1.
Mine would be a no.
Dr. Coleman, District 3.
Yes.
Ms. Briers, District 4. That was a yes.
Yes, that was a yes.
Ms. Bailey, District 5.
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell, District 6.
Yes.
Ms. Smith, District 7.
Yes.
And District 2, yes. That carries. Our next meeting date is June the 9th. And I think it will be in the central office. Anybody have anything else for the betterment of the group?
Ms. Wills, do you want to talk about the possibility that we will be up for discussion for coming from under intervention on Thursday of this week?
Yes, I've gotten a call from Dr. Mackey to come to the state Board of Education to discuss the possibility of getting out intervention.
Okay. I think her internet may have gone down. Are the rest of you still there?
We still hear you. We're still here.
Okay, I think her internet went down and we lost her. She may come back on in a minute, but just in case, while she's out, we are on the work session agenda to have a first discussion about us coming from under intervention as a school system. And I want to say that I think part of how you have handled yourselves in the last year or so, and tonight even, on your discussion about the role of the board actually exemplifies to me that you are ready as a board and as a school system to come from under intervention. And so I want to applaud you for that because all of that, all of those other things we've had to do, with Carmia and some of the other things, as well as board, interactions, were all part of why we were under intervention. So I think the way you handled yourselves, most recently exemplifies the fact that you're ready to come from under intervention.
I'm seeing you again. I lost you for a minute.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
we can hear you now.
Okay. Did you hear that I said we're going to the states to talk about intervention? Okay, Mr. Rowland, did you have something to say?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we'll let you know what happens. Any other business?
Oh, forever. I want to unmute. Madam President,
Yes, ma'am.
this is directed to Mr. Watts. Is he still in the room?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Watts, I got a phone call before this meeting, and I didn't get a chance to call you, but there were some concerns about the people that went to work at the different sites to serve the food. They were told that they were going to get paid for that. With the coronavirus fund, do we have enough funds to pay those people that put their lives on the line to go when we didn't know where we were going with the coronavirus? Is it something we can do to compensate the people that did go out before our staff went back to work? Could you enlighten me on that, or do I need to talk with you about this at a later time?
Okay, so, Mr. Watts and I have had this discussion. We have not received any additional funds as of now. There may be funds coming later on, but as of now, we have not received them. And so we do appreciate the work that was done. Keep it in mind that everybody was still on payroll at that time. So that it was perfectly legal. If something comes and we can work something out, then we certainly will look at it. Right now, we have not gotten any additional funds for that kind of support. And
Okay. Well, let me ask this question. Am I still,
yes, ma'am.
was there a meeting to say that they would be compensated? I'm not understanding.
Personally, as superintendent, I have not made that recommendation to the board. That would be the next step, that I would have to make a recommendation. So I can't say that there was a meeting that said that, but everything that has additional pay has to be recommended to the board by the superintendent with board approval, and then at that point, we move forward on it.
Okay, I just needed some clarification.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's all that we have, Ms. Williams.
Seeing that there's no other business before the board, I would call us adjourned. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Sure what?
I should have been presenting.
Oh. Oh, so I just went on through?
Yes.
Yeah, Chad ain't get them person, did you?
You ain't got much to do.
Well, maybe, that's good, because he calls all the time when he's up there.
Yeah. So we need to stay virtual with him.
Right.